Hey everybody, Vegas Breaker back with you. Sorry for that small leave of absence. Did go on a trip and had some other things going on, but did have a great year. Ended up 13-4, one of my best years as far as the weekly picks, which is of course the most important part. All right, but now looking into the wild card week, reached the playoffs finally. Bad thing is season's almost over, so after that, not much to do. All right. First game starting off wild card week, we do have Tennessee ended up 9-7 at Kansas City, who miraculously ended up 10-6. Why I say that, we all know how hot they started, 5-0, and thank God they also ended up hot. Last 5 games went 4-1. Tennessee's last 5 games they went 2-3. So Kansas City did end up with a 10-6 record. And this week is where we're going to see what I've said all along, how important the home field advantage in the playoffs are. But Kansas City is 6-2 at home, while Tennessee is 3-5 away. All right. Having said that, as far as numbers, defensively they do look very similar. Tennessee with a slight edge on defense, allowing 328 yards per game versus Kansas City's 365. Offensively, Kansas City does have better numbers, where they do get 374 yards per game versus 314 of Tennessee. And also the bigger difference here is the points per game is at 25 for Kansas City and 20 for Tennessee. Their defense allows Tennessee's 21, Kansas City's 22. Actually, backwards. Tennessee's 22, Kansas City's 21. So they are very similar there. Where Tennessee does kill almost everybody in the league is in the rushing yards allowed. They only allow 88 rushing yards per game. They do turn out into the points per game, so it could be better with those type of numbers against the run. Kansas City, they do have Hunt there running for them now. Now because he's back into the starting position and he's as fast as they come, so they're going to have their hands full. On the helm, we do have for Kansas City Smith, 4,000 yards, broke it this year. And what's even better, it was 26 touchdowns versus 5 interceptions. And this is where it gets a little bit off for Tennessee, where Mariota, I really do like him. Uh, did get barely broke 3,000 yards, got 3,200, but was 13 touchdowns versus 15 interceptions, which is huge there. Line opened up in Kansas City's favor by 9 points, and I will go ahead and roll with those 9 points. It is a lot for a playoff game, but if they play their first 5 games or last 5, they should get this. They saw each other in preseason, which is not much to say, but Kansas City did win it out 30-6. So, even bench backup and everything, that's going to be extremely important in this game. Home field advantage. And yes, I do see Kansas City winning this one outright. All right. Up next, we do have Atlanta 10-6 at the Rams 11-5. Rams are a bit odd because I would say home field advantage is important, but they did go 4-4 at home, meaning that they went 7-1 on the road. Don't they wish this was a road game? Atlanta did end up in 10-6 and are also 5-3 away. So they don't really care where they play. They were 5-3 away, 5-3 at home. They're ended the season last 5 games, 3 wins, 2 losses. The Rams did take 2 wins, 3 losses, but they did also rest players a little bit more towards the end. In this game, the line opened up in the Rams' favor by 6 points. Having said that, we do have Matt Ryan coming in, breaking the 4,000 yards in the season, 20 touchdowns versus 12 interceptions against Goff. Extremely talented player. Did not break 4,000, got 3,800 yards, but which is still great. But where he's even better is it was 28 touchdowns versus only 7 interceptions. So you do get a lot of ball security. Of course, Atlanta also has Freeman and Jones. Jones with 1,400 yards but only 3 touchdowns. So they could have used them better off in the red zones. Defensively, Atlanta allows 318 yards versus the Rams 339 yards. Atlanta only allows 104 rushing yards. Why I'm saying that is I believe if they could stop Gurley, who ended up with 1,300 yards and 13 touchdowns, which was also great. But if they could stop them at all a little bit, their secondary hold off Goff a little bit, which they allowed 214 versus the Rams 217 passing yards per game. I do believe it might be a closer game than we all think. I'm not saying Atlanta's going to win, but they might cover the +6. So I am going with Atlanta not to lose by more than 6 points in this game. If they win it, hey, I'll look even better. But if not, I don't think the Rams might cover those 6, even though they are at home. But that's not an advantage for them. All right, then we do have next Buffalo 9-7 at Jacksonville 10-6. Buffalo on the road horrible 3-5. Jacksonville at home great 6-2. Having said that, of course, with Buffalo's coming in with Taylor at the helm, 2,700 yards, 14 touchdowns versus 4 interceptions. So there is some ball security there. Bortles is coming off with way more yards per game, almost 1,000 more, 3,600. But the 21 touchdown versus 13 interceptions is a little bit. You would like a little bit more ball security there. Luckily, they do have Fournette running the ball with 1,040 yards and 9 touchdowns versus Buffalo, who has McCoy. McCoy does have 1,100 yards and 6 touchdowns, which are not bad at all. But he did get hurt in the last game versus Miami. It's only a sprained ankle. I know he's game time decision, but being the playoffs, being the NFL, for me, I say he does play. Would not matter a whole lot. Jacksonville's defense is just crazy. They only allow 286 yards per game. Of those, 116 are running yards versus 169. So great secondary, which gives them a chance. Maybe Taylor will make a little bit more mistakes. He only threw 4 interceptions, but as far as they don't complete first downs and turn the ball over, that's all they want. Both teams did end up 3-2 in their last 5 games, but Buffalo's 3-2. Of the 3 wins, 2 were against the Dolphins, so not much to say there. Jacksonville line opened up in their favor by 9. I will take those 9, and I will also make this my pick of this week. So it will be Jacksonville by 9. Not even going to worry about buying points and all that. If anything, a touchdown and a kick, you'll win it. But this is a very unfair game. At least Buffalo made it to the playoffs. But I see Jacksonville just killing them. That defense is going to haunt Taylor. And the offense will go ahead and do his job as well. All right. Last game of this week is going to be between Carolina 11-5 versus New Orleans, also 11-5. Carolina did play good away, 5-3. But New Orleans just killed it at home, 7-1. What the Rams did away, New Orleans took care of business at home. Do have Cam Newton coming in with 3,300 yards, but of that, it's 22 touchdowns versus 16 interceptions. That is way too much for my liking. Versus the all-time great Drew Brees, 4,334 yards, 23 touchdowns, 8 interceptions only, backed up by Ingram and Thomas. Defensively, Carolina does look better, especially against the run, only allowing 88 yards per game. Total yards allowed, 317 versus New Orleans is 336. Unfortunately, that only converts up to 20 points per game allowed by each defense. So defensively, they're very equal. Where they do separate is offensively, 323 yards versus 391. Of course, Carolina covers the run, but New Orleans has 261 passing yards per game. Unfortunately for them, because they do allow 229, which is not that great. It's about average, but they will get hurt by Breeze. Having said that, that does translate into 22 points per game for Carolina versus 28 points per game from New Orleans. All right, line did open in New Orleans' favor by 6.5 points. I will roll with that. If you want to stay safe and win by 2 field goal, by the half point, whatever. But I think they'll cover that touchdown. Taking New Orleans at home, especially with that 7-1 record, those are my picks for the week. New Orleans is actually also not a bad pick if you want to combine that with Jacksonville. But my pick of the week is still going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars. Buffalo's no match for them offensively or defensively, and that will just be a kill at home for Jacksonville. You don't hear that every year. You will hear that this year and maybe more to come because they have really improved this year. All right, those are my picks. Hopefully it's helpful for you. Like and subscribe, and good luck, everybody.